Hello again. I think it's Jumpman's crashed. We're frozen again. Oops. Reverse. We're going to try this again. Can everybody hear me? This is the beauty of technology, is when everything crashes. But we're going to try it again. Ready, ready, ready? Carmelo Anthony was phenomenal. We're going to get Mark Wahlberg back here now. There he is. Oh, come back, Mark. There we go. Nope. Wow, we love this technology. We're coming, guys. All right. Thanks for hanging in there with us, guys. It is connecting now. Man,
Gosh.
I'm gonna blame that on, I don't know, technology guys out there not helping us out. Okay, I feel like I
Talk
gotta
about
get
all the
this in
5G
quickly. I
conspiracies.
know, I swear,
Gosh.
help me, Lord, come on. So now I only have 22 minutes left with you, so I'm gonna go real quick. I need people to remember, I mean, all the things that you've done, your resume, which if you try to type it out, forget it. It's incredible, but my favorite thing about you is just your passion for sports, and you've never once hidden that, even if I don't always like who your allegiances are with. I've chosen to put that aside and compartmentalize that with you. Obviously being from Boston, so I can't wait to get your reaction to a couple of those things, the video last night. But see, I don't know if Mela would understand this as well as you and I, but how about some of the video from the 1990s? Like Oprah, Arsenio Hall, all of that stuff that
I
my
was
kids
on
are
the
like, who are
Arsenio
those
Hall
crazy
show.
people? You
I was on
were?
Oprah's show. I performed as a rapper. Yeah, me, TLC, Criss Cross,
Ah,
was Jermaine Dupri, because I was a big shoe guy then. I was actually an Adidas guy, and my friend was one of the head designers for Adidas. So I had the sample size. So I had sneakers that nobody had. I remember Jermaine Dupri trying to get me to give him a pair of my Concords, and it was MJ who took me away from Adidas. It was MJ who kind of, shook up my alliance with the Celtics just because everybody was so enamored with him. I mean, he had this star quality. He was a movie star on the basketball court. He was the most charismatic guy that you had ever seen in your entire life.
oh yeah, but who knew that he liked Corvettes that much? Like that cracked me up because there
Oh,
are
when he
there are
pulled
other
in on the
cars to
vet,
choose from.
I
Like
know
they hit like 10 vets.
when he pulled in on the vet, I was like, man, he had the best spot at the practice facility for sure.
For
Yeah.
sure. One of my favorite clips in last night for some random reason is they're at a stoplight. Is he in the red Corvette? And it says
Yeah, the
Jump
little
23
kid.
and the
Yeah, the little
kid and
kid
his
with the
parents
autograph
let him out right in the
on the
middle of
street.
a
Yes.
highway to go get.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
who Michael Jordan was. Okay, so when I say the name Michael Jordan, the first words that come to your mind are what?
Greatest of all time.
Hmm.
As competitive on the golf course as he is on the basketball court. His own winner,
That's it.
the winningest, number one by far. Yes, you have to put him up there. Probably greatest. I mean, obviously, I loved what Wilbon was saying with the list with, he put Babe Ruth in there. I don't know necessarily if you want to put Babe Ruth in there, but Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan
Have
as the
to.
greatest. Yeah.
And it's funny because I know Michael has said leading up to this that he's worried that people are going to think he's just a terrible human being after watching this. To me, I mean, hey, we've only seen two. To me, you're like, okay, that is the ultimate competitor who will lay his body on the line to get.
Yeah, of course. But they became this celebrity mystique that disconnected Michael for a while in the public's eye. But I think it just makes him more human, more relatable for sure.
100%.
You know?
So I was
Yeah.
trying to do the math because you and I are about the same age, and that playoff series in 1986. So you're probably like 15, right? When he
Yeah.
put up the 63 points
Yep.
on you guys, and you
No.
still won. But
Yeah.
do you remember that game?
Of course I remember that game. I remember that game. It was like, okay, he could score 70 as long as the other guys can't put up 40 between them. we were going to win the game, but everybody knew. What I loved was Larry and Magic talking about that. They knew it was just a matter of time.
Yeah.
They knew it was a matter of time. And even James Worthy talking about it in college, he said he was better than him for a couple of weeks. You knew it was just a matter of time before he was going to take over and change the game.
And by the way, the other people on that team for him, Orlando Woolridge, I wrote these down, like Charles Oakley, John Paxson. So
I remember there was a shot when Michael was talking about his rookie year. He was kind of staring at Woolridge as we were going down the practice court, and it was like this. You could tell they were like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he came in. It was, but that game 63, and again, I went because I'm a stats geek, and I know you love this stuff too. But those 3 games, the 3-game sweep by you guys, by the Celtics, he scored 131 points in 3 games. It's like, what? So yeah, wow. Go ahead and get your 70 or 80. But like at the end of the day, you guys had enough to stop her. But when Larry said that, he said that was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, Larry does not give out compliments easy. I think that's probably the first nice thing he said about anybody.
I was covering the Pacers back in the 90s when he came in as coach, and literally weekly, that was the interview I was scared of the most every single week, because he didn't give you anything. He just, of course, I was like a young kid going, blah, 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 blah. He's like, get her out. And he rightfully so should have done that. Okay, so the producer in you, I'd love your mindset after watching the first 2, because everybody knows that you're an actor and a rapper and a singer, and the producer and what you've done, all those things. So you look at this, Doc, probably with a different perspective than a lot of people out there. What's your takeaway from last night?
Well, it was just amazing that they were willing to let the cameras in, and willing to, and had the foresight to be able to know how valuable that footage could possibly be, and covering such an important time for the entire organization, for sports. I mean, the NBA, the league was absolutely taking off. It was is one of the few things, put it this way, it's one of the few things that's come up in the last couple of years where I'm like, wow, I wish I was producing that. I wish I was the one asking the questions. I wish I was the one sitting opposite Phil and Scotty to be able to ask them questions that other people might not really necessarily ask them, because you want to understand the whole story. But whoever has produced it at Mandalay has really done a great job, because they are getting the most compelling versions of the story, right? And what we see, we could just watch that season unfold and watch the highlights, and you would obviously, being a sports fan, compelled to watch it. But now getting an insight to just Scotty's story alone was mind-boggling to me.
I totally agree. I feel like, being a sports fan for all these years and following that team in particular during that run in the 90s, you feel like you know them. But did you know that he was an equipment manager at Central Arkansas University before he got on the team? I mean, who knew that?
No, I didn't know anything about his dad. My dad had a heart attack and was basically, stuck in a wheelchair since that time, for that pretty much the rest of his life. There were so many things that I didn't know. Him not even making the team, and then getting the scholarship, and 6'1" and going to 6'5" to 6'7". I mean,
yeah, like overnight.
Yeah.
What's your take, a fan side of you, on what Melo and I were talking about this with Pippen and the contract issue? Because I appreciated what Reinsdorf said. He's like, listen, he even advised him not to sign it, and then he signs it anyway for his own personal reasons. He's like, but listen, this is a business. Don't come back to me in a couple of years and want a new contract, which I understand that side too. What's your take?
Yeah, I think you could understand Scotty saying, he had to make sure that he was taking care of his family. He didn't want to get hurt. And if he got hurt, but I don't know who was negotiating that deal. I don't, if the owner was such a straight from the chute, straight from the hip guy, I don't think he offered him that deal. But I guess, there have been millions and millions of stories of people not getting what they deserved and doing work that other people got credit for over the years. It was just sad to see. It was sad to see, because you look at the stats and then you look at the other people on the team who are getting paid more than him. It's, it seems criminal now, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because I saw something on Twitter last night when people were saying, okay, he was the second best player, not just the team, but in the NBA at that time when you look money wise.
Yeah.
But then you have to look at like who else was playing at that top level back then. And David Robinson was the highest paid player at like 5.7, not even $6 million a year. You got Steph now at 40. Michael was at 4 million, and Scotty was at like 8th behind Neek, Robert Parrish, and Kevin McHale were making a little bit more than him. So I feel like at the time they signed the contract, it was probably right on par. But
Yeah.
it happened pretty quickly where he kind of outgrew those numbers. But I don't know, like, you're part of a team. You're part of a production team. Like,
I'm not familiar with the economics. So I mean, I literally was left hanging, and then they started talking about they were going to get into watch the trailer for the 3rd and 4th episode. They were going to get into Dennis's story, but I was like, well, wait a second, what happened with Scotty? You know, he hadn't come back yet, right? You know, did he finally get paid when he left? I don't know what happened. I really don't. I feel like I should have known what happened.
Well, maybe. I know. See, this is the producer coming out at you, right? Like, wait.
Yeah.
We got to answer these questions.
Well, the best part about it is it's so compelling that you could wait until, you know, see episode 8, 9, or 10 to give out that information, because it's very, very valuable.
They got us. We're like sucked in.
Oh, hooked.
Totally hooked.
You know what? Something good that came out, because, you know, there hasn't been much. I mean, I've been watching old fights on ESPN. I've been watching, you know, it's De La Hoya with Chavez, and then Trinidad, and then the great Tyson fights. And, you know, that's what I've been watching. You know, I don't want to watch the news because it's depressing. And then waiting for the Last Dance to come on. It's like, it's been a godsend that this is now happening. So I have something to look forward to.
Oh, for sure. And I need to segue into this just for a second, because for all those of us who follow you on your Instagram, what you could also be doing during this time is doing some TikToks with your daughter and your wife. And for some reason you are refusing to do this. And I don't understand why. Like, the world wants to see you out there.
No, I did one. You know, they're off, like, going to another level. The first one I did was with my daughter, and she has to be in the front. She's a camera hog. So I tried to get in the front and like get my shine, and she was like, absolutely not. So then the second time I just appeared, I just poked my head out and tapped my wife on the backside. Appreciating the view. And then you know, other than that, I've been like, you know, nope, Dad, you're not even welcome. They go up and lock themselves now in the bathroom, and you know, she's applying makeup to her face and everything else, and doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
It's phenomenal, and her confidence. I mean,
well, she did get upset at me that I posted the last one.
Why?
But she sent it to me. I went downstairs to get something to eat. They sent it to me, and then I was like, oh my God, this will really make people smile. And then I told her, and I showed her some notes that I had gotten and received for people that I've been in communication with that are really on the front lines and working 12 hours a day, and putting themselves at risk. And they said, wow, that really made them laugh after a day of crying and a day of living in fear. And so then she was like, okay, Dad, but no more. So she'll make another one in the next day or two.
Oh, she's upstairs right now, probably working.
Yeah, but she's on fire. She's got some serious star quality. I thank God she's an equestrian, so I'm not like too worried about her going into the acting thing, at least now. I think that may be something that she gravitates toward later on. And of course, if she does, I'll be there to support her. No, I was actually starting to think, I was like, wow, we could do our own version of Paper Moon here, her and I.
How old is she?
10.
Oh my goodness. She acts older. I mean, just because of the way she walks around with that confidence. And by the way, my daughter's an equestrian too. And I'm like, okay, I love this, but now stop. Like, for parents who are trying to save money, that is the wrong, absolute wrong sport, right? No. Okay.
Very, very wealthy people tell me that it's a bad thing to get them in. But you know what? It's given her responsibility. I mean, she's in there shoveling poop. She doesn't care. She does it all. Yeah. And, you know, there's no boy talk or any of that stuff. So I love that fact.
And that's one of the beautiful things about that sport for sure. But just wait. It's still coming. I wanted to ask you, because I thought this was fascinating, and you can probably relate, because 4 boys in your family, right? 4, 5?
No, 6.
6.
I'm the youngest.
6 boys?
I'm the youngest of 9 boys and 3 girls. Yeah.
That's 6 boys. God bless your mother once again. Like, I only have 3. I can't even imagine. The dynamic that Michael Jordan talked about last night with his brothers, in particular Larry, that to me was fascinating. And and then with his father, right? And so he acknowledged that he was kind of clamoring for attention,
Oh,
and
yeah.
especially because his father gave it more to Larry than to him.
Hmm.
I don't know what it was like in your household. I mean, some of us know some things, right? But
Yeah.
when you're clamoring for attention, when you're looking for that approval, like did you identify with anything that he was saying last night?
Oh, 100%, especially his competitiveness and where it came from. I remember to this day scoring a goal on my brother. We're playing street hockey, and I was always working twice as hard as everybody else because I was the youngest.
Yeah.
They would say I would be spoiled, but I was just talking to my kids about the first time I got something brand new. I got a bike when I was like 8 years old. It was the first thing I had new. Everything was hand-me-downs. If I scored on my brother, I remember getting hit in the back of the head with a hot because I was starting to get good. I used to play baseball with all the older kids. So they would call me Fred Lynn because I would run down any fly ball in the outfield, left field or right field. And I'd be out there playing all day and all night. And yeah, he really, that really touched me. The great thing was I also had a special bond with my dad because I was the youngest. So when everybody else was at school,
Yeah.
I was still at home. My dad and I would go to the movie theater a lot, or we'd sit out in the yard after, and he'd have his can of Schlitz, and he wouldn't he
Schlitz.
wouldn't he
Yes.
wouldn't flick the cigarette ashes onto the ground in the backyard because it was the only house he had ever owned. So he would cuff his Levi's and flick them in his cuff and his pants,
Oh
and
my
um
goodness.
and we'd eat tomatoes out of the garden. But no, I see what his dad meant to him, and my dad obviously was my hero as well. And everything that I did to impress my father and did for approval. And I remember the first time my dad actually said, "Wow, now you can call yourself an actor," because he never cared about the big salaries or anything. It wasn't until I got nominated for an Oscar, and then he
Wow.
was like, "Well, now you can call yourself an actor." Because my dad loved cinema, and he introduced me to all my cinematic heroes, Jimmy Cagney and Steve McQueen and John Garfield and Robert Ryan. And, my dad was a real old school guy. But I never thought I could be in the movies, but I loved watching movies. I was doing other things. Then I got introduced to the opportunity to be in film.
And I think that no matter how old we get, um, we learn more and more the appreciation for those relationships with mom and dad. Because back in the day, it's annoying when they're trying to rule our lives and take over as what our, and like I still look for that approval. You still want to please them and
Of
make them
course.
proud. And you could see Michael last night. I mean, and getting emotional talking about that relationship with his father. And obviously, we're going to hear more about that, I think, in the next episodes when he tragically lost his dad. But don't we all still look for that approval? I mean, right or wrong.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And look, I mean, my parents, youngest of nine, my dad basically bought the one house that we lived in, and it was all of us plus our grandma with, winning, a number with the bookie, like winning $1,200. I mean, to see Mike's dad working at GE and his mom working at the bank and doing everything that they could to give their kids the best opportunity to be successful, it really touched me. I made a movie in Wilmington, North Carolina, my third or fourth movie. So I've been to Wilmington, very, very small town.
Yeah.
And realize that, wow, I didn't even connect the dots when I was there, that's where Michael was from. And we used to go to this little restaurant in the middle of the island. Had to have been there since he was a kid.
Forever.
Been there
Yeah.
forever, yeah. Yeah, just thinking about all the sacrifice that my mom and my dad made to provide for us and put food on the table, you know.
Yep. Yep.
You know.
And then to be able to give that back must feel kind of
Oh yeah,
amazing. Let me get a couple questions from Instagram. This is from
sure.
Maria. Maria C on IG Live. She says, what's your favorite moment with MJ that you're going to tell your grandkids someday?
Having lunch with MJ and my son Michael, who's an athlete, just kind of sitting there talking to him, asking questions, and being
How old was your son?
being a dad himself. Probably 10 at the time,
Wow.
and very, very talkative, and just thought it was normal. Thought it was no big deal that him and Michael were having lunch in Beverly Hills. And then, of course, my own personal things on the golf course, knowing that, no matter what, he was Like, as I was like trying to pretend like, it's not a big deal. We're not playing each other. We're just playing
Right.
the course and let's have fun. And then of course it just turns into something else.
So that's where I need the footage. Like,
Yeah.
that's probably stuff
Yeah.
that could never ever be released, what is actually said and done on the golf course.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one? Matt H. This one's from Twitter. Your favorite Jordans. And by the way, you're one of the few, of like the only that like you got your own shoe, but
I have
it
to say
wasn't for
that
all
this
of us
one
to
has
buy,
to
right?
be my
That's
favorite.
the
Yes.
one. Oh my God.
No. Yeah. This is the one here.
That is
This
sick.
is the one. And you know what's funny? People think I have all these pairs. I only have 2 pairs left. I mean,
Left.
everybody hit me for them.
Yeah, how many did you give
Everybody
out?
hit me for them. We had 23 made.
And you have
So,
2 left.
yes, but there may be something else in the pipeline.
Oh, that's a tease for us.
Yeah.
So when? See, I'm not gonna let you go.
That's always the question. When
Yeah.
and how long?
Yes.
And it may be something that we may be able to make available to the public. So it should be cool.
Okay, so you're saying maybe, 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 but if you're saying it, then some.
Uh, we usually, I think, we usually will things to happen. So yeah.
Okay, where there's a will, there's a way. Okay, real quick. I need an hour with you too. So we're gonna go in Mello's closet and I don't know, take us out in the back basketball court there later next time we talk to you. But the fan of you, the producer and you, separate it. You tell me what's the storyline you're most looking forward to in these next couple episodes?
Well, it's funny because we all think we know and understand Dennis's story because he was so out there. But why the organization took him in? Obviously, he was a machine. On the boards, it was unbelievable. So all of it. I mean, obviously, I wanna hear the rest of Scotty's story. I want to hear why. It's all of it. It's incredible. It's not a specific thing that I could point out. I think it got me so hooked. Of course, this was my childhood. This was my teenage years. This was like I was up and watching. You watched every single game. You
Yeah.
watch every single game. You watched how. My God, I mean, throughout Michael's career, he spoiled everybody else's chances of getting a ring.
Ruined it.
Whether it be Charles, the Knicks. I mean, my gosh, you think about the people. It just wasn't going to happen.
I lived in Indiana during the 90s, and Reggie, I mean, we had some teams,
Man, but those battles with the Pacers and the Knicks were phenomenal.
Completely. I mean, I got like emotional watching some of those last night. And then you see, of course, all the old school
Absolutely.
guys, and in my case, the Rick Smiths, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is like, there's just so much. And it's all about timing in sports with so many things that you can't control. And for Reggie Miller, again, selfishly here.
One of the one things that I was really upset about, I started yelling at the TV yesterday. And because they were just talking about the importance of other teams in Chicago before Michael came, and they had a clip of Carlton Fisk in a white uniform and not a Red Sox uniform, and I just thought that they could not do that. I'm very uncomfortable with that. I was yelling, and my guy who works with me is sitting there on the couch watching. He's like, "Who's Carlton Fisk?" He has no idea. He's 33 years old. I'm like, he's a Red Sox, okay? He's not a Chicago White Sox.
Damn it, he's a Red Sox. This is a problem.
Yes. I mean,
See,
not
if
Carlton
you had
Fisk.
been in control of this production, there's no way that would have happened.
No, there are many other great White Sox that we could have showed instead of Carlton Fisk. That was an inside jab. Sure. We having to say.
Like, obviously, he did some things, and sometimes it's the way you do things when you're a leader, right? It's how you do things, not what you're doing. And I think that was obviously one of the problems that people had with him. But there were moments where I was like, this is uncomfortable, the way that they're going at him, even if he quote unquote deserves it. What was your take on that storyline? Because that was crazy.
Oh, with the GM, with Jerry Krause?
Yeah, with Jerry Krause and Pippen and Jordan, I mean, all of them. And obviously how he handled Phil.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be hard pressed to say what anybody would be thinking to dismantle a team at the height of their success. Porter is saying, well, you know, he felt like he was being overlooked. He wasn't getting any of the credit. I think most people don't aware of what's going on in the front office. They're aware of what's going on the court.
Exactly.
And for anybody to not say, okay, we just won 5, let's go win 6. Why not go for a 7th? I mean, you keep that going. So I know it just boggled my mind. Yeah, I cannot understand that rationale. I think, you know, it's like all of a sudden at the height of Entourage in season 6, we're going to just change the cast because Jeremy Piven has become a bigger star than one of the other cast members. It's absolutely crazy. But again, because we were getting cut off, the most amazing thing about Michael is the work ethic. And I hope that our younger generation, somebody who, you know, whether it's to win, you know, the affection of a parent or the respect of a sibling, or to prove somebody who a naysayer wrong. I mean, I've always felt like I was never supposed to be in the position that I'm in, but I was willing to work harder than everybody else. And I'm still working harder than everybody. And that's just what I do. And that's why I've become successful. So why wouldn't I keep doing that? And you could see that was Michael's whole attitude. And I'm hoping that my kids get that and see that, because I want to be an example for them. But I think people are really going to take away from this, and hopefully young people like, wow, if I want something, I better go be willing to work twice as hard as everybody else, day in and day out.
There was a moment at the beginning where Roy Williams, who was his assistant coach at North Carolina, said, the look on his face when Roy said that, he challenged Michael, right? And then Michael got all, and he's like, no one will work harder than me. And that has proven to be true. But you're right. So this is cool and this is fun to watch the scenes. But I love what you said to wrap it up. Like, there are lessons that we can all take from this if we choose to.
The other great quote, the other great quote from Roy was that also he's the only guy who could turn it on and turn it off at any time, but he never turned it off. Ever. And you can't.
Do we know people like that, athletes like that? I'm sure there are some, but it's another level. I don't think we'll ever see what we saw again.
There's only a few because normally what happens is you work so hard to get there. You might do all the work to get there, but then you start getting a little bit complacent. And we've seen many a great athlete get complacent, or somebody who's just supposed to be the guy. So they just assume that they'll always be the guy, and then somebody comes in and takes their spot because they're willing to work harder than them. That's a difference. And not a lot of people have that DNA and that gene, you know what I mean? That, you know, just they will no matter what. I remember they were talking about a basketball game that was going on between Brady and Jordan were playing at Baker's Bay. And I was like, I was on the same team. I mean, forget it. I wish I had front row seat to that game. It was one of the few times that I wasn't there. That would have been a real treat to see.
Unbelievable, for sure. All right, so now we got to wait.
And of course,
6
they were
days.
on the same team. They were on the same team.
That's
did
wrong.
That's the only thing about Michael. When Michael and I were playing in a golf tournament, he invited me to his tournament, and then all of a sudden he puts himself with Brady, and then all the other good golfers that were there didn't have equally talented partners. I'll just say that.
Equally talented.
And
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't put it like that if we were just talking in person. But I was like, he won his own tournament. I'm like, this is a charity event.
He doesn't care.
But I tell you, it always, he motivates me and inspires me every single day, and hopefully it's going to do that for everybody else who watches it.
Did your kids watch with you?
They were watching. They're going to come back. You know, the great thing is we got it sent early, so we're going to watch it when they're less distracted.
Yes. Well, it is one of those things that I can finally say, see guys, see kids, this is what it used to be like, and this is why the Steph Currys and LeBrons of the world can do what they do is because of what he did and how he did it. So awesome. We got 6 days now and counting until episodes 3 and 4. So for all of you guys at home, again, 9 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN in the U.S., Netflix, if you're outside of our borders here. But we are back with the encore next week with 2 guests. If you're bored, Mark, come join us again. And we'll work out the technical glitches. Are you proud of me for bringing you back on? I figured it out.
Yes, yeah. No, it's terrible. I mean, in this day and age, it should be flawless technology. But I'm also wondering how many more times we're going to see the beret.
The beret.
The beret.
Only one person can get away with that beret. And that's what my kid, like, what is that hat thing? I'm like, it's not just a hat, guys. That's a beret. So much more than that. Okay, you're the best. Thank you so much for your time. Go get that workout in. It was really awesome to talk to you. Thank you. Bye, guys. Bye. By the way, for those of you still on, wear your Jordans all week. If you wear your Jordans, give us a hashtag in my J's, and then we're going to keep an eye on it here on Jordan Brand. We're going to keep an eye on it and possibly post it on our Instagram page. So hashtag in my J's. I showed you mine from earlier, right? Did you miss it when I was with Mello? There you go. Look at that. These are the Jordan 1 lows, and they are kind of amazing. I have to go on air today on SportsCenter 6 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to look professional in a dress, but these are the shoes that I will be wearing, just FYI. So thanks to everybody. Next Sunday, 9 o'clock Eastern time, once again on ESPN for episodes 3 and 4, Netflix if you're outside the U.S. And we are back with the encore with 2 more surprise guests next week. I love you. Thank you. Have a blessed day.